Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the channel. So a lot of people have been asking me for plans for the whippers, and over the years I've had the pleasure of working with people all over the world via email and PMs on how to build them, how to time them, tune them, all the whys and what fors, and the way I do things, the way I do them. I don't have any drawings really per se. I do of one of the other small frames, but let's just go ahead and run through it real quick, what the dimensions are, and I guess I'll do a couple of videos on like theory, all the whys and what fors, and why I do it this way. So let's get into it. And what is it? All right, well, it's a 10-foot tall rolling whipper, 10 foot to the tip of the release pin, aka finger. The arm is 53.5 inches long from the main axle to the release pin. The short arm looks like 10 inches. So the frame is, overall dimensions of the frame, it's 60 inches long and it's 41.5 inches wide. So that's the footprint of the machine. So let's start pulling some measurements, and I'll go ahead and show them. I'm actually going to there's people that are willing to pay me for these. And I told them I'm just going to do a video, and they're like, "Nah, I'd rather have you do the drawings for me." And they work better. It works better for them that way. So the width, this is your front beam, and then you have a bottom beam with a woolly worm. Okay, this is a 2x4. This is a 2x6, and I use Deckmate 3.5 inch screws, and I screw through them like that. Okay, so that board, like I said, is 41 3/4 of an inch. All right, and then you have that's the front of the machine. This is the back of the machine, and I double up on this back so I have something to mount winches to. Be it a hand, like a boat winch, a hand crank winch, or power winches. I'm using power winches where I can. So your side frames, your side rails, side beams. I'm gonna put it down. It'd help if I had a third hand here. Okay, so from the inside of that front beam to the inside of the back beam, you're at 55 5/8 inches. And it has a 12-degree bevel on the bottom. I mean, 15-degree bevel on the bottom. Just ran it down the table saw because the canted frame is at a 15-degree lean. Okay, so your bottom beam, we've got the measurement on that. Next beam, from the angle, you're at about 42 and 9/16. Now this frame has shrunk. It's dried out. It's several years old, so you're kind of just have to account for that and the measurements that we're getting here. You can go ahead and cut them at what we're saying, and they'll work. They'll be fine. So the inside beam, this is your inside beam. You have one on each side, right? Okay, that is 55. It's like 55 3/4. Kind of hard to do it again with one hand. 55 and 5/8. Okay, so your interior beams here and here. These little guys right here, supports for the center tower. They are 10 and a half, 10 and 9/16 long, and they're 2x4s, and they're screwed from the bottom, and actually it looks like I have one there in the top too. The center tower. Alright, get my tape pulled out. Okay, let's see. This is okay, 36, so minus an inch and a half because it's sitting on the top of that other one. We're at like 34 and 5/8 for the height of this leg. And how I made these particular boards is it was a 2x4 that I ripped in the table saw with the blade at 15 degrees, and then I worked it in till it was flush, and pull the same distance. Everything really needs to be symmetrical, so this is level and square, this is all square, plumb. You know, everything is screwed. There's no diagonal braces, so everything is held in place by just screwing it in through here and screwing it from underneath into the beams. That's what's holding everything square. It kind of flexes on uneven surfaces, which is really good, so it just doesn't bind up. Let me get you this, see if I can figure out how to get you all this dimension right here. So we have the overall height from this, from the bottom of the beam, and that was what, 34 and 5/8 or something. The long points on the back side are 28 and a half inches. 28 and a half inches, and that's gonna be a that's 45, so that's probably a 22.5 degree cut right there, because this is 45 in here, so that's what the angle of the tower is 45 and 30 between here. What's next? The tower blocks, the towers, these towers are kind of hard to get a measurement on. I'll see if I can get one. I don't know how to hold you. Like 62 and a half. I just broke my tape. Shit. 62 and a half from this point in there, the center, that top inside point, to this bottom point right there. I would call it 62 and 5/8 probably. It's kind of hard to get a measurement on that because I trim these 1/4 inch. So when these 2 points come together, I have a little flat for them to kind of register against. And you can see this block. Let me get my newly shortened tape. 3.5 by 3.5. That's a 15-degree cut right there. That'll be a 90 when you put it in the table saw like that. Distance between the headers, 7 inches. Okay. The header links are right at 9.5 inches. I don't want a big thing sticking out here because it's where the line, when it shoots, the line can get caught in there and snag up. I don't even like that little bit, but if it's real small, then it's prone to splitting and it's just stronger that way. This is a scope mount actually with a homemade Picatinny rail. So we can name this thing pillow block bearings. 1 inch bar. Alright, 1 inch bar. The wheels. These are 5-inch wheels from Home Depot. They're rated for 220 pounds. So 5 inches by 6 inches tall. I'm actually considering putting a second set under these because our weights are going way up on this machine. We're at like 400 pounds now. And this machine has like, 2,000 foot-pounds of energy or more coming out of it, or going through it. If you have a dry fire, all of that energy and weight is going through the frame right into those wheels. So I never had a problem with them yet, but like I said, the weights are going up on it. We're at 400 pounds now on this thing. What else? The trigger. I actually broke that trigger because I had moved to triggering it from a snatch block and a snap shackle, and had got away from this on this machine. And one day firing, I think I forgot to move a board at the front wheel, so things just kind of flopped around and the weights ended up smashing into it and broke it. It's a really good system. I actually prefer it and we'll probably go back to it. This is working, but this is way safer. I call it a hammer leg because you drop the hammer on somebody. So the arm, we talked about the arm dimensions. Let's talk about how it's actually made. The core, wrong side. The core is a 1x6 treated pine deck board, so it's 5.5 inches. 5.5 inches. And I've rounded the trailing and leading edges. And it's sandwiched between 2 treated 2x6s. That's just kind of clean it up. Looks nicer. It can stay square or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Looks nicer though. And those blocks are 23.5 inches, okay, to the bottom. So what is our overall length of our arm? It was 53.5 plus like 17 1/4 is the overall length of the arm. But you can see that's the hanger axle right here, and this is just meat for leverage and to trigger off of and to winch off of and have some leverage. The hanger, let's see if this tape is not going to be long enough to measure the hanger length now. So the overall length of the hanger, I need another tape. Hold on, dang it. So from the center of this weight bar to the center of the hanger axle is 46 1/4. Yeah, 46 1/4. The interior of it, obviously you want it tight. See how tight the tolerances are here? You only got about 1/8 of an inch. Sorry for my compressor. So the interior space it's 4 1/4. This is the prop block and the timing props. I run a dual timing prop on most of the machines now, and we're propped out 5 inches, but that just kind of gives you a rough idea where you're at. Which is that? That is the trigger right there. And we're a little bit we're 2 inches back from the bottom. There's another one over here. Oh no, this is the trigger. This is the trigger, and it's right on the corner. Actually, it's right at the very back. It's typically the lowest part because you need this clearance in here. There's a core in there to stabilize the plywood. This plywood is Baltic Birch 9 ply, and there's 2 layers of it. This dimension, where its connection and strength is coming from, is this 7.5 inch diameter circle here. The curve, man, I don't know how to tell you to get that curve. You're looking at 7 inches off, about 7 inches above center line of axle, of the hanger axle to the counterweight bar. So it's 7 inches of curve within that. So that's going to put that radial point, that turn point is going to be way out here. You know, like 6 feet away or 7 feet away. And that geometry changes on the scale of the machine, and depending on what you're trying to throw, and because that's what this curve is for. It's for projectile clearance and to bring the counterweight center of mass closer to the arm, so you can fully cock it and maximize the power stroke on it and arm rotation. This arm, if you notice, it leans forward. I have 7 degrees of angle built into it, 7 degrees advance. Just by how I laid all the boards out, you can see this distance here. This is straight to, you know, like a 90 degree to the ground, and this is the forward advancement on that arm, 7 degrees. You can see that triangle shape right there. I guess that's really all the measurements on it. On a double weight bar, you need to have enough clearance for these 25-pound plates, right? So that's 11.5 inches, but you don't want to fight them trying to get them on, so give them a little bit of clearance out to about 12 inches center. That's probably what this is right here. Those are 11.5, and I have to fight it a little bit. So put them out 11 3/4 or 12 inches or something. What else? The trigger system is mounted on a wedge so that when it lifts up, it comes to the center of the space between these towers, and that's where it hooks into the trigger. We'll go over that on another video, all that timing and how that's all set up. These bottom angles are compound miters, 22.5 by 15. Top and bottom are cut the same, just opposing, and cut that little 1/4 inch flat spot right there, 90'd off of this, so when those tower pieces come together, there's something, a little bit of meat instead of two little points where they come together. It's easier to hold and line up that way. Alright, I guess if you have any questions, leave it in the comments. If you like our new little simple Texas trebuchet logo with the blazing fireball star, I'll leave a link to that in the description. Alright, thanks for watching.